Hey, Debbie.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It may just be you and me. I don't know.
I know, how crazy. I'm like, and no, there's Maureen, because I knew
I'm
Maureen
here,
had
but
accepted.
I have a bad cold, so you are not gonna hear me much, but I'm here or see me because I'm looking pretty crap.
All right. Well, I am taking myself off video and putting myself on mute because I am in the final stages of cooking a pizza for dinner. So yeah, tonight was
I
not
think
one of
last
the
week
early
messy
nights. Tonight was not an early night, but it is going to be a good pizza.
There you go. That's okay.
Okay.
Oh, bummer. I thought Ashley would kind of get a good I'm just looking, I just finally got my blue light, another pair of my blue light glasses in the mail. All right, let me get back off of that and I'm going to get into, so tonight we are going to go into, I feel like I'm the only one on my call. Isn't that weird? Hi, it's just me.
You're not. We're here. We're here.
I'm gonna do an infomercial. It's just
Yeah, do an
me.
infomercial, Deb. I like it.
All right, so if you got your little meeting notes, let me see. Poor thing, what happened?
I don't know. All I know is I woke up yesterday and I didn't feel good, and then as the day went on, got worse. But I did COVID test. I don't have COVID.
Yeah,
But
it's probably run down from the holidays and running
Yeah.
around and
I've just been sneezing and coughing and clearing my throat, and I'm like, no one needs to hear that.
oh, poor thing. Are you taking care of your the jama juice? Did you try some of the paste and stuff?
Paste? No.
The turmeric and the ginger, that whole paste.
I've been doing that. I did that. I did the homeopathic stuff twice today.
Did you do the actual it's like the Bella juice, but it's the mix and you make that big paste. You'll feel like your sinuses might be more active in your cough, but you want it out of the body.
Yeah.
And then that's what it does. It actually gets it out of the body.
No, I didn't try that. Nope. I did all the other stuff. I did the carrot stuff, and I've got, and I'm also do the oxycillin that I can never pronounce, that stuff in the box. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm doing that, and then sleeping.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, at least you're doing, I mean, last week was really, I remember you saying last week was like, go, 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 go. And work was a little bit overboard. And
Oh my God, it's absolutely ridiculous again. Yes. So yeah, that has something to do with it. And the weather's up and down here. Like it's cold one day, warm the next. Like
oh,
literally, and we have like a 40-degree swing. So I know that has part to do with it too.
yeah. Usually it's more promoted by the, if the body's run down a little bit and more susceptible to what's coming its way,
Oh yeah,
right?
I know.
It's okay.
Anyway,
All right.
see it? It's going away.
That's right. See, it's all gone already.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let me just pull up my notes here. So I sent you the quick little agenda. Let's start. Let's clear out Maureen's
What are we gonna do?
her that aura around her that is more of like a weighted and a congestion and all it. Try to breathe a little bit
Oh
of
my
that
God,
in,
take that away. Yeah.
right? A little bit
Everything
of
else.
that out. Feel that leaving the body. All right. So last week we went over we can start with the I am successful when. Did anyone actually go over it and write it down or update it a little bit at all? Go over any of that? We were writing them down and then we were going to
No, I got it. I know. Because you're not, I'm sorry. And I will not be false. I did not watch the video last week. Are we talking about from the week before when we did the triangle? Or are you talking about the beginning when
no.
I started with
Okay.
the I am successful, like when, or I feel?
Yeah, it's so we had been doing I forgot you weren't on the last call of the video.
No, I'm so sorry.
No. It's so we can update you real fast. We were going through the gap in the gain, the first couple chapters.
Yes, I love that book, by the way.
Well, if you refer back to page 42, he goes back into when I believe not Dan. I just lost his name, just went right out of my
Are you
head.
talking about when, wait a minute.
One
I
of
keep
his,
forgetting.
he refers to one of the gentlemen here. I'll pull up page 42 real fast. I have it open.
Not about the client who wanted to achieve a goal and then went beyond it and wasn't happy. Not that one.
No, I'll pull it up real fast. So
Okay.
basically it's when you get into your gap and your gain thinking, like what's going on in your mind, you get to the point where you're kind of measuring yourself against someone else and you're doing all of these things, but it's not self-determined. It's not, you're using other people's measurements and other people's goals and other people's ideas and things to measure your success and measure where you are. And so basically this, I'm going to pull up the chapter real fast.
Let me get my other thing. I'll pull up the book too. Hold on.
Yeah, so it's page 42 where it begins. And Dean, I said Dan, it was Dean. Dean Johnson, the marketing expert and entrepreneur. So he came up, Dean decided to flip the question and put success in here and now. And he asked himself, I know I'm being successful when, and then he came up with a list of 10. So I asked us to go over our list of 10, which is really great hairdo, which is really important.
We're talking about yours. I know you're not talking about mine.
I forgot I still had it like up and down. When we are at the point where we're in this mindset of the gap and the gain, when we're in the gap, we're measuring our own success, our own daily rituals, our own way of being, our mindset, everything against either society or our coworkers or what we have deemed is successful. So what he decided to do is write down his own and reflect, which gives him his own self-determining point. And not only that, he begins to come up with his own set of values, his own set of success. And this becomes his ideals and his goals, which is more attainable. And as we're going to get into in a few minutes, it's the body's reaction and ability, as we're learning in this course, it's more about habits and shaping our habits and our mindsets to have all these different outcomes in our life, in our bodies, in our relationships, with everything. So as we start to base our existence and our dailies in this more habit mindset, the more we're going to achieve our goals and the more we're going to be able to set these self-determining ideas, parameters, whatever, and not be in that gap mindset of, well, Charlie has this, and then we'll get into in a little bit, like the difference between need and want. Like, it's huge. You think you might need something, and that makes a different feeling within your body, all the way down to your cell, opposed to wanting something. When you want something, it's a different feeling in the body. So he decided to do this. So last week we did the same thing. At the end of the call, one of the exercises, we wrote down a list of 10 things of I will feel success. No, he puts it exactly. I just said the wrong words.
I am successful when?
When, exactly. I am being successful when. So his list were, I can wake up every day and ask, what would I like to do today? My passive revenue exceeds my lifestyle needs. I can live anywhere in the world I choose. I'm working on projects that excite me and allow me to do my best work. I can disappear for several months with no effect on my income. So these are his ideas of his own success, because remember, he's the marketing expert. Right. There are no wimpy people in my life. I wear my watch for curiosity only. I have no time obligations or deadlines. I wear whatever I want all the time, and I can quit anytime. So his were more job performance or lifestyle performance. But as we can go through and do it, you're successful when it could be an attainment within your own business, your own work habits, but it could be family, relationships. It could be your health. A lot of people will be feeling successful when they finally understand their body, when they understand how it all works and how to keep it in checks and balances, and how to overcome things that they thought were programmed in themselves at birth, which we've talked about before, now within this whole proven science, not just Eastern philosophy, our epigenetic little programming things can be changed now. So a lot of people, view this differently. So your success to you is specific to you, and it's self-determined. So this gets you into that gain mindset where you're going to be thinking, which is really crucial in this habit evolution and identity shift and change. You have to be able to start reflecting on what is important to you, all the way back to statement 1. What, how, why, measurable,
right?
Metrics, so this all goes within it because it becomes self-reflective. It becomes self-determining. It's just you, whatever's important to you. So it's really a pretty fun thing. He had just done it in there as an exercise, but when you carry it more into like our course, as we're going to talk in a few minutes, the mindset and the body can be determined with a whole different set of tools and shift in the mind. It's amazing as we go through. So my list has a few different things in it, goals for work, goals for my body, and goals for my family, my living. So I kind of, which in my thoughts are important to me. So this like complete circle of myself is successful. I'm not just focused on my business or just on my health or just on relationship. To me, having the balance of that full circle is really important to me. So I added a few of everything onto mine.
So can I ask a question? Is it going to seem cheesy? Because honestly, one of my wrote is like, the way I'm looking at it for me, and especially with the change that I'm going to be coming up with retiring, is like, I can have quiet time to actually sit down and really read a book.
That is
to me is like a success, because I'm like, oh my God, I have not read a book in years, like fully read a book.
Because you are choosing. Absolutely. You got to yourself to the point where reading books as downtime because you want to is important. Right. And that's a lifestyle reflection.
Okay.
So something like that is super important.
It is. I'm
Again,
excited about it. I mean,
self-determining
I've
and
been reading this, but
self-reflective.
it's like, I have to like find the time.
Yes.
But now I will have the time. So like that, I just want to know, is it things like that? Because they're not going to be huge things.
Right.
Hey,
No,
I'm
no, no.
jealous. That sounds really good to me too.
Yeah.
Right?
To all of us, when you say, oh,
And
gosh,
then, I mean, it's going to sound cheesy, Laura, but the other thing I think is like, I want more, I'll have, the success to have more time to make more homemade goods.
yeah.
Like
Which-
I've made bread for the first time in years. And I loved doing it. I did it this past weekend. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, yeah. So anything, and that's also therapeutic. So that aids the body, the mind, that whole connection.
I'm going for the little achievements, but that's going to make me feel very successful.
Absolutely. But then you've hit your goal, whatever the goal is, to be able to do these things. So that is success.
Okay, good.
And by
Deal.
measuring our own creations, like whatever we come up with, again, they're ours. They're not somebody else's like ideas. So that's like living in the gain. It's measurable, like measurable things like to get to. And this is again how we become and we develop that internal reference system where we're going. You know how months back we had gone through in one of the calls being, within ourselves or going outside for information, like being internal and using our intuition and our gut and like going instead of always determining our own our health or our paths in life or whatever by the outside judgment or the outside telling us, like when you don't feel well, you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, okay, this is what's going on and this is what you have to do. But your gut instinct is telling you, no, I don't think this is right. Like this is not how I'm really feeling. But because that's the doctor, you do what the doctor says instead of listening to your own intuition. So it's that kind of mindset of start looking inward. So what we're really going to start focusing on even a little bit through these holiday seasons is finding our own line, finding our own inner direction and finding what is important to us and what we have control over, understanding we have control over everything. We're just going to take it back. We know this, but we kind of give control away to everybody. It's either a boss, a relative, a parent, a pastor, or someone on TV that said, oh, this is the best thing, do this or that. So we're always giving away our ability to make our own choices to somebody else. And really, we need to start coming back in because we can shape shift what works for us, what doesn't work for us. And we can make our own health. We can make our own intellect. We can make our own ability to achieve, work, relationships, whatever, again, it is we're working on. We have that ability to do it. So that's what we're focusing on when we're, when we're talking about like how habits actually become like trained muscles. As you do something over and over again, the muscle has that muscle memory and it kind of can go right back there. That's what these habits and changing your identity or changing your routines and things, they actually have that memory, but they have that ability to continue almost on autopilot. And that's where you kind of want to get in life, where your own intuition and everything's coming from your own autopilot. So I just really thought that was pretty cool. If you were to write your 10 down, Maureen, and then like, you can just write them down. We went through it in like 5 or 7 minutes, really fast, came up with 10 of them. And then we were going to go over just really kind of updating and tweaking them, because some might not, like 10 minutes from now, one might be like, well, that's really not important. So then you kind of go over, but then kind of keep it and revisit it, because it could be that in a little bit of time, it's shifting, changing, evolving, something of that nature. So, but it's a pretty cool, I just thought it was a pretty cool exercise to really, when you look at something, when you write something down, it becomes different. It gets kind of embedded in your mind. So, but you understand from the first one, the concept, we went over this.
Yeah, I have 7.
Okay, good. The gap and the gain, though, the whole process of living in the gap versus the gain? Because you're reading a little bit of
I
the,
have to tell you, I totally got it because, I'll put this in relation to work. Is because I have some, team members who are like, well, so-and-so is doing this, so-and-so is doing that. And I'm like, I don't care. You have to focus on yourself and only you. And then we have this thing that if you get to a certain number of loans and there's this bonus or there's that bonus. And I took myself away from, because it's coming to the end of the year. And I took myself away from focusing on that number and just going, no, I'm just going to worry about what's right in front of me here. Cause this is good. And I took away that from going, but I have to get there. No, I don't have to get there. And then there was no, but I'm like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm good.
there you
I
go.
So
tell you
took
what,
away that.
these performance metrics that are, they can really fuck with you.
Yes. And I hate that because they do,
Yeah.
and it causes more stress. And I just said, I'm not doing that anymore.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Very good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So I totally took that into mind. And I told 2 people at work about this book and I go, you need to read this.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm in the game.
You know what? And the ability to like kind of change quickly. Like if you're feeling in the gap or you start to say like, oh, she's hitting her numbers, you get to the point where you can say, all right, wait a second. How can I change this into a positive? All right. I'm not going to, well, we can jump real fast. So back in, if you read a little bit of it, Maureen, I'm going to pull up my, the chapter notes I wrote for this were really pretty funny. So if you go into notes, where'd you go? Where he has the 3 examples, I think it's in like chapter 3 or something. So he goes into the effects on the brain, the gap in the gain and its effects on the brain. So quickly, so those constant stressors, as we know, again, from last habit as well, but kind of taking all the way through the habits, those constant stressors on the body wear the body down. That's living in the gap, constantly putting, so the mind connection to the body, as we know, is so powerful. So as we're living in that, we're living in the gap. Living in the gain is, on the other hand, it's restorative, healing, empowering, and it's all of those positive, has that positive effect on the body. But some stressors, as we know too, are really good for the body. Certain amounts of little stressors are fantastic for the body. Researchers show that, he wrote in here, show that the rate at which we age is related to our own gene interaction to the exposures of stressors. So as we know, the more we live in that stress, or Chicken Little, the sky is falling down, or everything is hard, or work was really hard and it's too overwhelming, there's too many people, you're aging yourself so incrementally faster than you would if you could just figure out a way to live in the gain and find that slow down, or find those stressors that are making your body stronger, little tiny incremental ones, which what we do and learn in this course. So as you go to those exposures to those short-term stressors, it also goes all the way deep into a cellular level. So he has 3 examples in there where they did experiments with 3 different, I thought these were so cute. So as we know also, how you portray something or how you see something determines that reaction on your body. We went through last week's call. It was kind of easeful living. So as you view something, positive or negative, it immediately has a reaction on your body. So you could be in traffic and want to flip somebody off, or you could say, you know what, I'm going to take these 30 seconds and I'm going to deep breathe for a second or 2. It's how you change, or whatever your mind is told, the body will react to it right away in that instant. So he has an example of this, Sisters of Notre Dame. So this was back, I think, in 1917, about then. It might even been earlier. There was a group of the sisters, and they were asked to keep journals. So an autobiography kind of journal throughout their life. Decades later, they go back and they read the journals of these. At the time, the women were 20. They were just, sisters at Notre Dame. So those who wrote down the days were good, the days were positive, things went well, things were happy, as opposed to those who found it very daunting, very hard, very taxing on their life, very overwhelming. The positive journal entries, like I think it was 3 or 5 decades later, those women lived 10 years longer than their counterparts that wrote in their journals daily of the hardships. 10
Wow.
years. So the body is being told, like, keep things going, everything is okay, or break down, this is awful, by the mind. Then there was another example he gives. So there was housekeeping ladies, and they were given the idea that two of them, two different groups, one group was told that their housekeeping obligations during the day was a really good form of exercise. It's very good for the body and the mind, and they were going to have a better physical outcome after all of this. And the other group was told nothing. They just were, just told,
Get to work.
your work done in this amount of time, and that's it. So the informed group thought to themselves, this is awesome, I'm getting a workout. So they actually thought they were doing better. They thought they were physically improving, while the other group just thinks that they have to clean a certain amount of time. And that the positive thinking, the group that was told that they're going to have a better workout and that they're physically going to be better, they actually had better body tone, better attitudes, and lost weight. The other group stayed the same, had actually a few sick day call outs, and like a negative effect on the body. It's amazing. The first group was just told, this is going to be workout for you, or it's what you're doing is a form of a workout. It's all in the mind. What the mind is.
That's what they focused on.
One other fun one. This one I've actually seen firsthand with people. It's called the milkshake group. So 2 groups of people were given the exact same shake for a period of time. Call it, I think it was like 90 minutes. They had to drink this shake or something, and then they were having their blood levels tested. First group was told that it was highly nutritious and it was low in calories. It was only 120 calories. The other group was told that it was high in calories and fat, 620 calories. So tests were done on both of the groups after they consumed them. And I think the increments were like 30, 60, and 90 minutes after consuming these shakes. They were looking for the gut peptide ghrelin, which we'll get into in a second, but ghrelin is essential. It turns on that hunger feeling or not. And the group who were told that they had the 620 calorie, actually after doing the test, they had less of the ghrelin. So their bodies believed they were full because they thought they were eating something dense. The body actually produced less ghrelin, which is that it's a hormone, it's a peptide that tells your body when you're low in energy and you're really hungry, it tells your body you need to eat now. The group that thought they were given the 120 calorie shake had higher levels of ghrelin and told the researchers that they were still hungry. They were given the exact same thing. So the mind thought, I'm only getting this watery thing. So 30 minutes later, I'm still hungry. 60 minutes later, I'm really hungry. Exact same shakes. The mind told the body it was too much or not enough. And it reacted to it in a physical hormone release. And it was like just fun things like that. The body is that strong. It's going to determine.
Well, the mind is that strong too.
That's what I mean. I meant to say that the mind connection, the meaning that the whole makeup of the body and the mind. So these people actually.
Yeah, that's a really cool study.
Isn't that really, really neat? And
That is neat.
Yeah. So ghrelin is that peptide that actually turns on, and it actually works in the brain as well. And it works, I think, in the pancreas and the pancreas and the brain. So it actually tells your body, you're hungry, eat some, or no, you're satiated, you're fine. And then it turns. So it's really fun, fascinating, but the mind and the body had determined that with the outcome being completely different. So again, how we see things is really, really different, but the effect on the body is crucial. Like, so as we start to think of this gap and gain journal, has anyone done the gap and gain journaling at night yet? Anybody kind of playing with that?
Not yet.
I've been doing it every night. And you know what? And
I've done it mentally. I haven't written
That's
it
okay.
down, but I've done it mentally.
That's okay, because I believe, again, the mental, I mean, the connection, it's also really, really, really good to do when you're going through, I'm going to keep it going, because I used to do it years ago when my task lists were stupidly long. But it's not really a task list. That's what I like about this one. It's gains. It's giving you that gain mindset before you go to bed, but it's also letting all that go. Once you put it down on paper, it's gone for the day. And then you put down on paper what you're going to do tomorrow. So you don't have to really think about it anymore, but the gains, what you wrote down in your gains for the day, that's positive reinforcement all night long. And then what you have to do tomorrow is just kind of process, like you're visually rehearsing a dance or something. So it's really, I find it really, really, a great tool for sleeping. I've been sleeping like a log, but I've been actually a pretty good sleeper lately. And you wake up and you feel refreshed and you want to look at your list because you're like, oh, okay, did I remember those 3 things or those 4 things? Because you want to keep it short. They have to be meaningful. So when your gains have to be something that actually make you feel good about what you accomplished that day, rather than, shit, I didn't do 4, 5, and 6. You want 3 pretty impressive things that you got done that are going to make you physically feel good about your day. You don't want to end your day in the should have, would have, darn it, I didn't take care of. That eats at the mind during the night. And then you don't, you toss and you turn and you play through all those all through the night. So I'm finding it. So if you want to try it, I'm finding it really, really pretty powerful in that respect. So I'm finding it working. I'm going to.
So the other thing that I've heard is that if there's anything any wisdom about a question or something that you're thinking about, that if you ask that question right before you go to bed, then your mind actually works on that during the night.
Your subconscious, yes.
Yes,
What, so that you have the answer in the morning?
Well, maybe, or you'll have some insights. It's not like it's not like magic, like suddenly you get the answer.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But if you place the question in your mind right before you go to sleep, then your subconscious works on it.
Yes.
And you may have some insights and some wisdom, either in dreams or when you wake up the next day, you'll have some thoughts that you hadn't thought about before,
Absolutely true.
Okay.
It's a powerful tool to you're almost, so as we know, and as we're believing, like within this, and now science actually can measure this, it actually happens. So our exchange within the energy field that is all around us all day, all night, everything, as we go to bed and we settle down and let that all process, the energies around us don't stop. So we're actually able in that state of rest to be able to receive, because there's no judgment. We're not awake to judge it. So we're actually able to receive the different energies from things around us, which help us process these thoughts, these ideas, these requests, whatever, on a bigger level, like this really big, broad level. And they can measure the brain wave as a person, like Laura was saying, when you go to bed and this is on your mind, the different parts of the brain that are processing that while the body's sleeping. So it's pretty cool, and it is measurable. So that's why journaling at night, putting your thoughts kind of to bed at night or whatever, it's usually you usually get a really great outcome from it. But as we put all of this together and we see these outcomes, this is all positive to the body. So the more we do this, this whole connection to the mind and the body. And as we're learning more and more, even in science, how it's going into the cells. So like take, for instance, as we're journaling and we're adding all these good thoughts, and during the day, we're beginning to be able to shape our habits and shape shift our reaction time to things. As we're learning, it's going into the level of our mitochondria. And the mitochondria, as we know, that's like the little power house of our cells. So I won't go back into the biology of it, but we didn't have these like, thousands of years ago.
Right.
It actually came into us. It's like a prehistoric little virus that came into us and actually got into our cells and has become this energy source. It's like our little mighty, man with his cape on. And within the organelles of the body, as we're learning, the more we are reactive to these stressors and all of this going on during the day, it's adding that coating and that inflammation around and inside the cell, which then the mitochondria can't do their work. So going through this course and little bit by little bit learning how the habits are helping us and assisting us, and what dietary things are good and bad and stressors. And we're getting so deep, we're getting into the cellular development of our health, which is really where you want to be. You want to be in that gut health all the way into every single cell of that mitochondria, which is going to give us that longevity. And I mean, the biology of it is fascinating to me. I mean, that's what
So Debbie, what do you mean that the mitochondria like didn't exist before a few thousand years ago?
It's actually long. I mean, like before dinosaurs. So if you go back into science and you find like where this mitochondria came from, it actually was a bacteria on something like within, I think it was like seed bacteria or something of within that came into our bodies that we ingested eons ago. And it actually became ingested into our cells and became part of our cells. You know how we have the micro biome within our gut and all of this. So all those bacteria and viruses, one of them actually became in. So it's
yeah, but there's mitochondria in like virtually every cell.
Every single cell of the body. But
yes.
if you look back into time where it came from, our immediate existence did not have this virus, did not have this.
So you mean the earliest
forms
samples of
yes,
whatever our ancestors did not have mitochondria? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, they did not have the mitochondria in the cells that actually started. I can actually find the research because I was fascinated by when I learned this, that I actually took the blurb and put it out. I will find it and I'll
yeah, I mean, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I had not either. We were just told that the mitochondria is this great little powerhouse. It determines our energy level.
I mean, as far as I knew, that's been, that's been part of what it is to be a human being.
The fascinating part now with all of this development of like science now is catching on to proving how certain things are coming from. And that's the beauty of biology and all. It doesn't stay the same. It changes. As more data comes in, as we get more technologically advanced, we learn more things. And that's what I think is pretty fascinating about it. So feeding the gut biome, getting everything good, we could be trying to do all the best things, the right things, whatever. But if we hit it, in that gap mindset all the time, or stressing or being reactive, doesn't matter how many supplements or good foods or prebiotics or postbiotics or
because the mind is,
it's going to destroy
where the mind goes, the body follows.
Yeah.
So if you've got a negative mindset and a negative attitude and a negative outlook and negative, too bad.
Exactly. So, and it actually starts in our gut. So the actual intelligence comes from within our gut. So it's kind of funny. We always thought that the mind determined the body, but they're actually learning more and more and more. So the microbiome within within our gut and in our intestines and lining, if that is really good and really optimal, it's releasing gases. The gases give off the, it's like those little neuron receptors that go in and give everything the messages of what's going on. So they actually release the message to the brain and tell the brain what's going on. Then the brain gives us our knowledge to react.
This is, it's the gut. It's the gut brain. It's like a second brain.
Exactly. But now
they
they're
inform
finding
each other. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's more the epicenter of the body than the brain is. The brain, as I was told in a workshop a few weeks ago that I told, it's the, think of it as a computer. The brain is just the processor of the information, but it can't do the thinking unless you give it the information. It's the same thing as our brain, our gut, all of the information coming from those gastric exchanges within the body, within the neurons, within the cells.
Right. So the raw data is coming from the gut and it's processed by the brain.
Exactly.
So if you change what you eat or drink, and that changes the gut biome,
yes. So
then
this
that
is why it's so important.
the brain, which impacts the rest of the body.
Every single thing we put into our body through our mouth in that pie hole is a message to the body. It's intelligence, it's information. So we're thinking like we can have whatever we want, whenever we want, in any part, but we really have to start being smart about what we're choosing, because it's immediate information, which processes it gives the information to the brain. The brain's only the processor. It can only process the information it was given. And it's fascinating, but we never give it that much validity, and we don't ever give it that much time and understanding, because friggin' food is good.
So we are what we eat.
And it smells good. Yes, we are. Our gut is determining now what we eat. So what we're feeding it is going to determine its absolute reaction to tell the entire body, starting with the brain, what's going on, what it's lacking in, what's happening. And if we're constantly giving it food and food and food, and then the mitochondria are getting so, like, as we were showing that the cells, you know how the lysosomes come in and they do their little cleanup in the house and they send stuff, or you get, when it can't do that anymore, you start getting the disease states. Well, the mitochondria actually get too much gook on the inside, too much gook on the outside. So their information to tell you have some energy, not have energy, it's a little high, it's a little low, that also becomes impaired. So we're in that constant state of, I'm exhausted, I'm run down, and then if you ask somebody, well, what do you eat? Or when do you eat? Or do you do any? And they're like, oh, no, I eat really well. Like I have these really great, dinners. I put them in the microwave. I'm like, oh, okay, let's start over. Or we eat really well out in our car, a gourmet meal while driving in traffic. I'm like, that gourmet meal.
Fries.
I will say I had a really excellent cauliflower crust pizza tonight.
Ooh, I made one of those last summer, the cauliflower crust, and then you put like, it was so much fun. It was really delicious too. And it was like pressed cauliflower.
Well, I didn't do that. I bought it.
Oh, well, if you ever want to try it, just for the fun
made
of
out
it.
of cauliflower flour, I guess.
Yes. It's really fun and easy to make. And zucchini too. You can take zucchini and make a pie crust. Amazingly delicious. Kevin even said during the summer when we made them, he goes, I think I would eat this all the time rather than pizza. It was that good.
So what, you just really, really thinly sliced zucchini and use?
I think we put it in the food. I think we put it in the food processor. You added some ingredients, nutritional yeast, different things to bind it a little bit.
And then you mush it up and make it into a dough.
Yep. And it was really good. And we made cashew mozzarella. It was fantastic.
Nice. Right. Cashew mozzarella. All right.
Yes. So stuff like that is probably going to give your body a little bit better of an information, and you're still having fun creating things. And again, this doesn't have to be done every day, all day. Like, one of the topics for today was like, how are we going to make it through the holidays without self-sabotage? This is pardon?
I know this is recorded, but my face is not on there. So what you just said, how are you going to get through the holidays without self-sabotage? And Laura, maybe, I bet you have felt this too, since we've been eating better and doing better. How you feel when you don't is hugely,
Enlightening.
impacting. Yeah, I'll say enlightening. Okay, good. Impacting.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh my God, I'm never eating that again.
Mhm.
Like, whereas I will tell you, we went to Dickens on Main last Friday night, and we don't eat fried foods, but we had fried foods. I was so sick on Saturday, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, I am never doing that again. That was not worth it. I mean, literally, it was bad.
Yeah.
So now,
I gotta
before,
tell you, I am feeling very polluted. My
right?
sister has been here for 2.5 weeks, and we
Ooh.
have been drinking every
Oh.
night.
You are
And
polluted.
I am polluted. I mean, I feel gross. And she's leaving Saturday. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna detox as soon as she's gone. I have to detox.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
and it's not
as you
fair. It's
know,
not her fault, right? I'm the
No,
one who's putting it into my body.
but you're more
But
conscious of it now.
yeah, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I feel so gross right now.
but you could also like it took me a long time to get there, because I'm sure even Maureen remembers, like I'm always like what are you eating now? Or, oh, she doesn't do this or that. But
Yeah.
I had that test of time on my own body years and years and years ago. I would eat certain things, or I was very aware. I'm like, God, that was really fun last night, but it sucks today. Like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't like that. So I started to just like, or I'll just say to someone like, oh, well, I ate a big lunch, or I did something, or then now I'm to the point I'm like, no, I just don't eat that. That's okay. Thank you. I'm gonna still come and enjoy us and all, but don't worry about, now I'm like, this is who I am, and I have the energy and I have the ability to do all that I do because I choose my own path. So I'm not gonna like make excuses for it anymore. This is who I am.
Right.
People know
I
it.
know. Well, that's what
And I'm
I mean,
actually
like I
more,
said, it's not
yeah,
it's my own decision about what I'm eating and drinking. And I can't blame it on anybody else. Now, yes, it's more of a temptation when somebody else is doing, eating or drinking something. And, I just do it because I want to,
right.
without thinking about, what's the effect tomorrow.
Yes.
But I can tell you after, yeah,
Two and
I
a half
feel
weeks
pretty
is a long
polluted.
time too,
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
company and entertaining and doing like but now that you have a different mindset too, maybe you could be a little influential on her habits or something, if someone else, within your circle is not doing things, that might be beneficial to their health. Sometimes you get to the point like they start looking at, you don't even have to say anything. You just start doing things differently. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing that for? Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Or how do you feel after you do that? Or why are you doing that? And then they're like, I'm going to try that too. Instead of kind of following their steps, you kind of
I know. I'm not there yet, though, clearly.
but you will get there. And even if you do it, so I want you this week. So if she's here till Saturday, it's still only Wednesday. If you have that shift from the gap into the gain, like take it something positive, and you do one thing between now and Saturday differently than you have in the last 2 weeks, I want you to not only think of it before bed, I want you to write it down as a gain that day. One, just say, maybe I don't want, instead of 2 or 3 drinks, I'm just going to sip a little, or just sip a little bit, and that's it. That's a gain. That's a go, like that is a win. That's a check mark. Or maybe not eat exactly what someone else is eating or something like that. Anything that you kind of, now that you're aware of, you resort to not doing that and making a conscious decision not to do that. You have to write down those little bits, those little chunks of improvement, because that's where the mind shift starts to happen.
Right. Is by paying attention to the little
Exactly.
things.
Any
There
tiny
have
little
been a
things.
couple of nights where I've said, look, I just don't want anything to drink. I'm just going to drink water. I'm going to have tea. So
Yeah.
there's been a couple of nights where I've been like, no, I don't really want anything.
Yes. That's what, there you go. And then you have to, if you can remember, write it down so that it's visible, it's measurable, it's something that you actually have attained, like something that you actually have done, and you wrote it down, and it makes a huge difference. Then you start to see like, shit, I did it. Like I can do it again. And now I want to do it. Like I felt so much better that next day than I did the other 3 days. And now I know I can do it. I'm giving myself the power back. I'm going to do it. And then you just write these little tiny things down, and they start making a difference, a big difference. So it's compound effect as you do it.
Just to share with you guys, because, Debbie, when we started, I was telling you about, there's a bunch of crap in my job and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Well, not anymore. I got a new job.
You got it.
Yay!
I did.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh,
They,
that's awesome. I told you the other day when you're like, well, they're not really, meeting me and all that. I'm like, never know.
they
Oh my God, that's
lowballed
so
me,
great.
but then when I told them, this is what I'm making right now, can you? And they did. So they came up
Wow.
35,000.
Oh,
So I'm like,
yes.
okay, man, they really want me.
You're
So
rocking. That is
so
That
yeah,
is
fabulous.
huge.
my last day is December 10th, and I start January 30th. Sorry, January 3rd. And
Wonderful.
and it starts off the very next week. I'm flying out to Laguna Beach, California for their sales meeting, where I get to meet all of my colleagues in person really well.
Wow. Good for
Yeah.
you. That's fantastic.
That is so
So,
great.
So
Congratulations. Kudos.
all that negative shit that I've been lugging around for the last 8 months in this job that I've been so unhappy in, I'm like, oh my God, thank you
Yes, these
for
are all
getting me out of
things.
here.
Yes. You're up leveling. So you need to keep this going. You can't let this season and this transition self-sabotage you. Now now the trajectory is going higher and higher. Like now you're gaining momentum, and you need to act on that. You need to really, for
Yeah,
your
I
own,
do.
so that's wonderful. That's
Yep.
very
Yep.
good.
So I'm excited, and I wanted to share the good news with you guys.
Very great. That's wonderful.
Well, I am so stoked for you. I really am. This is so good. Oh my God.
Thank you.
And they saw your worth, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, really,
I'm getting on mute
really,
again. I keep
they
hacking.
really did. I mean, not only do I have the experience and the skills, but I had really incredibly strong references. And I think, that's what really turned it in my favor. It's like, no, she's not just saying this.
Yeah.
These other people, her
Yeah.
bosses, her managers, her, VPs, directors, they're all saying the same thing.
There you
So,
go.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, so I December 10th is it, and then I have the rest of the year. I don't have to work until January 3rd.
Wow. Good for you. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
All right. Wonderful news. All right. So you're going to make it through the holidays without self-sabotage. We're going to set yourself up, be aware of your triggers, like what's bad, what's unfavorable outcomes, like kind of get yourself back into this and really go into this job strong, like really get it, kind of get yourself set up for success, not failure. And I would,
That's really what
I'm
I
start
intend to
now.
do with the next.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. That's what's happening.
That-
I'm shifting it.
That was part of so this is the close of this one quarter. So the closing call, it was, where are you right now? Like really, really be honest with yourself. Where have you made improvements? Where are you feeling that you stayed the same, or maybe even a bit backwards? Be specific. And where do you want to go from here? Like in that next quarter, in that next, like as we are goal achievers, we're also resetting goals. That's what these little tiny, oh, here's my steps. That's what the little Kaizen, little tiny steps,
Yes.
us up there, little bit by little bit. So as we're doing these little tiny things, that's where we're able to stack them up to be that one big high, like whatever our trajectory, wherever we want to go, that's how we attain them, by little bits, and really recognizing and being honest, brutally honest with ourselves. Where are we right now? Kind of what did we do to get there, or what didn't we do to get there? And how to kind of change that? How can we shape shift this?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because I came into here saying I wanted to lose 30 pounds and I lost 10. And, I'm sure I've put some of that back on in the past couple of weeks. But the other thing was the whole relationships and the job thing. And so, I took care of that.
And you know what? That's huge. And sometimes holding on to all of that emotion doesn't allow the body the correct messages to be able to lose the weight. Now, as you are happy and these better signals are going to start coming into your body, you might find losing the weight is easier, because if you are really living by what's working for you in the habits with the eating and the going to bed and doing the things are going to work for your body, then, or like the intermittent fasting, which I really suggest.
That's the easiest thing for me to do, surprisingly. I mean, I have adjusted to 2 meals a day very easily.
Okay. But when we spoke last call or the call before, you had been back to eating all the snacks at night again and doing all the things.
Well, since my sister, it's not my sister's fault. I'm the one who's eating them. But yes, so I'm still having that problem. But
well, you try. Remember, again, little steps, once or twice a week. You just try, even in front of like other people that are eating, just not to do it. And then it becomes, after time, it becomes really easy. I mean, I could be in the middle of a party or something and I'm just not good. I just don't do it anymore. So I don't. And everybody could be eating, or Kevin could be eating a little bit at night, and I'll just hang out with my tea and talk to him, whatever. You get to the point where how you feel the next day is more important.
I would love to get to that point.
Yeah.
I would really love to get to that point.
Yeah. And you absolutely will. It just is, this first quarter was just that learning of the information. Then quarter 2 or so, you start to live it a little bit more. Then quarter 3, you're starting to understand you want to do this way. And then as we get, more going, and then you become, like Maureen is saying, like, I'm not going to eat that anymore because I feel like crap the next day. So you recognize where that feeling like crap is coming from. Like before, you could have just said, oh, I don't feel this day.
Maureen, what are some of the things, Maureen, that you used to eat? Because you were like, oh yeah, you're totally agreeing with her. So I'm wondering what you were thinking about.
So I am such a salt freak. So I would sit there, even if I was hungry or not, and I'm going to go for, maybe I'm going to have some potato chips, or sorry, I'm going to go for, I had this thing for a while, that peanut butter and chocolate, no lie. I would sit there and eat
it's a great combo.
Right. So, but since when we were starting to do the, intermittent fasting and just trying to do the 12 hours. So I said to myself, okay, I can't go past dinner. And if I felt the need to get up, I went and got water. And then I had to train myself. So I got into that habit of, I go for water now. And what's funny is that, because my son, my husband can snack and he's thin, so he can do whatever he wants, for the Pete's sakes, and, but I can do that too. Now sit next to him, I'm like, no, I'm really not hungry. and I don't need that. And I can tell you that the chocolate's still in the pantry, and that's okay, because I look at it and I go, no, don't want it. Like my whole mindset, I don't crave it anymore.
Yeah.
And I knew it was really
God, I
working,
need to
because
get there.
last week I cheated myself. And I'm just saying myself, and said, "Ah, I want a piece of that peppermint bark because, holiday."
Yeah.
Well, I had it. And when I was done, I go, that was not worth giving up my fasting. That's the first thing I said to myself. And I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, well, I didn't do it again.
Yeah.
So it was just that. I just started
Can't
with that.
hear you.
I'm like, Laura, you got to like 16 hours where I couldn't. And now I can every now and then. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
I
I'll
did
push
it.
for 13. And then I found myself getting to 14, but only like twice a week. But most
That's
of the time
good.
I'm at least 13 hours every day, at least,
Yeah.
to
And
get
as
there. But I
you
feel
change it
better.
up a little bit, you actually, your metabolic balance, and you actually want to like shift that a little bit. So like
Yeah.
this week I did a 15, a 16, no, a 14, a 15 and a 17 so far, like this week. And then tonight, I think over the weekends though, I was only at like 12 or 13, maybe 13.
See, the weekends I can do longer.
Yeah.
Last night to this morning, and it also helped I wasn't feeling good. We ate dinner. We had soup at 5. I did not have anything till 8 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I've actually been holding off. I've been doing that bullet coffee in the morning because holy God, that's when I'm creative. The clarity of my mind. So I haven't been eating until like 10 or 10:30. And the one night I stopped eating at 2 or 4 in the afternoon, and I didn't eat till 10:30 the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm
'Cause
to
I
the point
wasn't
now where
hungry.
I'm like, I'm not even hungry.
Right.
So it's just conditioning the body. Like way back, I would be like, oh, well, I don't really think I should go that long without eating. It's probably not good for it. But then your body starts to get used to it. And that's when it goes deep inside and starts doing the cleaning and starts doing things. But the mind becomes less cluttered. That brain fog goes away, that indecisiveness.
Well, the interesting, even though I'm snacking at night still, like I might snack up until 10:30 and go to bed at 11. But I'm not eating again until 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, so I'm getting these longer stretches of the fasting, but
The longer stretches
it's not.
are very, very good for the body. It's just that at night, as you eat later, that's the food that interrupts the cleansing overnight and interrupts the brain cleansing. So if you could do it a little bit earlier, if you're still trying to get out of that habit, like 3 hours before you actually go to bed, because the body is trying, the optimum is to have an empty stomach when you go to sleep, so that that cleansing and all of that detoxing can take place every single night.
So I'm only getting half the benefit of the fasting because I'm doing it. So, I'm still eating until, an hour, half an hour before I go to bed.
Right. And it just takes one night a week. You just try, like, do I really need to do this before bed? Or if it's just a creature of, comfort habit. So try not to do it one night. And then next week you're like, I did it one night. I'm going to do it 2 nights this week. Then after a while, you're like, you know what? I feel so damn good when I wake up in the morning and I'm refreshed so I'm going to do it 4 nights next week. So then you just start to build on it. And then after a while, you're like, I just don't do well eating at night anymore. I went out last week, took my mom to dinner. And, by the time we went and ate at, after a play and all this, it was a little bit later, but it was time spent with my mom and she was so excited to do it. We ate probably, I want to say, by the time we were physically eating and finished, it was like 7:30-ish or so. That's late for me now. I felt so full going to sleep at like 10 o'clock that I was like, oh, see, this is why I don't do that anymore. And we went out with friends, Thursday or Friday night, and we were eating the same thing at like, by the time we went to dinner at 6, we wound up eating that 7:30 hour or so, whatever. And I'm like,
That's hilarious. I mean,
no, we never even used to leave for dinner until 7:30.
I didn't didn't have dinner tonight until 7 o'clock. That's what time I was starting to eat dinner.
But that would, now if you
You
could
know?
somehow not eat before bed tonight, let that all digest and go in, and then that'll start the better cycle. So
Right,
little bit by
right.
little, you try.
Yeah, clearly I haven't mastered any of these 10 habits yet.
But you know what? It's not again, that this first initial information portion is really just getting the knowledge, what it is. Then as you
Mhm.
start to get better, then you start to learn it, then you start to live it, and it gets better and better. The first time you're like, holy God, I can't do all this stuff, or what is this? And I'm not going to change all this. It's just it's a building process. So in the beginning, you're like, oh, okay. But then as you start to understand how they work on the body, you start to do a little more and a little bit more and a little bit more. It's a building block. So don't overwhelm yourself right now with like, oh, I'm not doing that, because none of us did in the beginning. It
No.
took me, yeah, when I was first in school, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So what time are dinner reservations? 8 o'clock? Okay. Then I was wondering why, like in the morning, nothing was flowing out. Nothing was happening all these years like that. When I was a runner, didn't matter.
Yeah.
Everything was okay. But then as you start to get, and you're like, oh, things aren't flowing properly in the morning. Could it be that I'm eating dinner at 9 o'clock at night? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that used to be me too. That's very true. And then I just made when we started this, made a conscious decision. Nope, not doing that anymore.
Yeah. And now it's like, yay, this is so easy.
Not realizing, yeah. So when we eat at 6:30, we're like, wow, this is late.
Yes.
I'm ready for that blue plate special.
Yeah. Eat a gigantic, meal in the afternoon, and by nighttime you're like, I'm not even hungry. So do we have any ideas, anything that you might want to dive into like next quarter? Like we'll get into the Christmas season. We're going to, keep finishing this and reinforcing these habits, and maybe get into some holiday, good ideas, bad ideas kind of a thing. But for the beginning of the next quarter, do you have any interest going forward? Like anything you're changing, like Laura, in your life? Maureen, you're kind of looking towards retirement or so. Is there anything you want to work on or see or learn? Anything of interest? Kind of think about that.
I will tell you, I'm sleeping better, but I really need to learn how to relax. I know this sounds silly, but I need to work on that.
Most Americans do. When you're leaving a job in the afternoon like that, and the constant coming at you all day long and different things, there are absolutely fantastic tools and things that can actually like bring the body down. So that's a great one. We will definitely go into that, and that will probably take a little bit of time, just to go through the information. But it's amazing how you can go pink and pull yourself like right. It's really cool. So yes, that's
I'm struggling with the one, of course, with my stepfather, I'm just struggling with that. I have so much angst, and I'm doing everything we talked about, and some days it's just not enough. And I'm realizing, okay, I need to figure this out and learn how to relax. I really do.
And I'm just putting it right here in a note. So this is what we're going to do. This is one. I'm going to put.
If that's okay with you, Laura, because I'm working with that.
Yes. Perfect. So that's a fantastic topic to get into, because there's so many different modalities that are offered out there that we are so out of like mindset and consciously aware of, or habit oriented towards living that way, rather than understanding that the more we can relax and the more that we can bring ourselves and our composure back in to deal with situations, again, we're going to aid our health. We're going to aid all the way down. We don't understand how that inability to get into that relaxed mode is really, really altering our health and our aging.
Yeah.
So, and as we start to get older, we know that's kind of important.
Oh God, yeah.
I would say for me, it's changing the habits. It's, figuring out the triggers. I mean, and I think I may need more one-on-one, really working through some of this stuff.
That's too funny. I was
Because
going to send you an email this week, and then I said, don't overwhelm her before the class. And I was going to ask if you wanted more one-on-one, like if you wanted to kind of work through a few more of these.
yeah, I think I need that. I've just not been able to really shift the habits. I mean,
Yep.
for a while there, it seemed like I was, and then I lost it and went back to all my old bad habits, and I'm stuck in them again.
Well, we can absolutely support you and bring you kind of back up and into that. And again, the habits and learning, like, trigger habit reward, all of this Kaizen, all of these things, it's information in that first quarter. So this next quarter, we're going to kind of dive into, like how Maureen is saying, like relaxing. A bunch of these habits actually feed that relaxation response. Things you do before bed, things when you do in the morning, things you can do in the afternoon, biofeedback to your own body. All of these fun things are actually can be like kind of built in. So those are two really great things. Go back into that habit loop, get back into the relaxation loop.
Mm-hmm.
So love it. Any feedback for this as our closer to this quarter? For me, for the course, anything you really liked or something you didn't like, or we need to work on or collaborate on, anything you could think of that we might want to address?
Just on a totally, logistical thing, I really appreciate when you send the link to the Zoom, like
Multiple times.
minutes.
Thank you, Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, even just 5 or 10 minutes before the meeting.
Okay,
It's just like, so I don't
I'm
have
so
to
right
go
there with
fishing for an email,
yep.
Or whatever. It just takes the stress out.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, she's going to send me the link like 5 or 10 minutes before the meeting. I know, and I couldn't find it today. I'm like, can you just send that again? It just makes it really, really easy, Debbie.
It's so easy.
I appreciate it's the easy button for me.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah, I will do that. I will send us the quick little link. I'll be sending the agenda again back. I got out of the habit of doing that. That's one thing I want to do. So send like I did yesterday and a little.
Yeah, we got that one yesterday.
The text is so fast and so easy. Like I find us within our barrage of, emails all day long that they're kind of getting lost probably. So that's
exactly what happens to me.
That will open a document like the text message yesterday morning. You just have to hit the link and it's going to open it.
Well, I did see that the link was in the text that you sent.
So you just,
and I was like, okay, it's there, but then you sent it anyway. So
I'm seeing, I didn't see that because I just saw, I just went out to the PDF. So sorry.
No, it'll go. So that's what we'll do each week. And I'll, send out even 10 minutes before, because I always have the link up and ready to go. I'm just going to copy it and paste it and send it right to us.
You'll have to start going back to my personal one instead of my work, just letting you know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I think, I really have appreciated the information. I mean, I bought the book, The 10 Habits, and I started reading that. And, my life and my world is so busy that I really haven't taken advantage of all of the additional information and the link to the website that gives us all the extra articles, and I really have not taken advantage of it. And so other than reading that 10 habits and occasionally some of the extra stuff that you send, I look at, but it's really our conversation. And I think you're right that this first quarter is just the beginning. It's just the information.
That's all it is. Yeah. For all of us.
And so, I was thinking that I would only just do 1 quarter. And if I hadn't lost 30 pounds, then I was going to quit, you know. But there is really great wisdom in the information. And I think I need to soak in it a little bit more.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
very good. Well, wonderful. I'm so excited and so happy to continue collaborating and working with you. And you are spot on. This first, I'm so glad you actually feel it. This first quarter is just the information. This is where you start to make the progress. I mean, it has been all the way back. I mean, I've been in it so much longer since way back. And since I went to school and went through different things, I mean, almost every day, things just keep that compound effect. I know this much, I learned that much, I live this much, and it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And my reactivity, like Maureen, I'm going to help you and take you through, like, I just don't react that way anymore. Like it's almost gone. I'm like, all right,
That's so good.
this is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to handle, or within my mind, or you just learn to like listen to someone's rant for a minute. Doesn't affect you. And then you
Yep.
handle it in a completely different way. Or, and I'm not saying you become spineless because you stand tall within your convictions or whatever, but you're not reactive. It doesn't affect your gut. It doesn't affect your sleeping. Like it.
Right. Somebody else's ranting and raging doesn't trigger you.
Exactly.
Correct.
Right?
Okay. All right, that I have to share this with you then, because I've never done this before, but I did do it. My husband can attest to this. I had a realtor who was so rude to me on the phone, and I was like, you know what? I don't hang up on people, but you, I'm hanging up on. We're done.
Good.
And I did, and I'm like, that felt so good. Because I'm like, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole with you. I know it's cheesy, but I was like, oh, yep, did it.
That's
What's
huge.
hilarious is the satisfaction that you used to get from hanging up the old handset, and you would
Yes.
smash it
it's
down.
exactly what I was picturing. Yes.
It doesn't have quite the same effect of just like hitting the cell phone button, but still.
Yeah,
old
but it
hang
felt
up
great. I was like,
powerful.
yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. I was like, when he's looked at me, I started laughing. I go, that was fun.
I love it. And you know what? About almost a year ago now, you wouldn't have done that.
No, I wouldn't have. I would have been too afraid to do it. That
Yep.
is so true. But I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want this. This yuck.
That
Yep.
is not serving me right now. Bye.
No, it wasn't. And I'm like, not worth it. Not to me. Bye. Yes.
Right.
So it does work, Laura.
Well, congratulations.
I know it wasn't professional, but I don't care.
Well, it sounds like he wasn't
You know
very
it?
professional either.
Exactly. That person needed that
Exactly.
right then.
And that was it. I'm like, no. Mm-mm.
You did not need to be a part of your world at that minute. Done. Bye.
Yep. Exactly. So I just want to share that with you.
Well, thank you. I love it. All feedback is wonderful and meaningful.
Yep.
So are we meeting next Wednesday? I mean, what's the schedule for the rest of December? Or is this it?
No. We'll meet next Wednesday. I definitely want to go over, a few things. I have a couple fun things on for next Wednesday. Let me just pull up my calendar again to find out exactly what we are on. So that'll only be the 8th. I can even be both the 8th and the 15th if we're available. The 15th, I wanted to share a couple fun recipes, things that might be a fun alternative for, say, the next week when you really start baking or cooking or doing whatever, some strategies and some fun baking. So if you want to kind of come up with a couple recipe ideas or something in your brain of like something that might be your killer in the holiday season, or might be something really, really beneficial. We're kind of, if we're available on the 15th, we'll do a kind of a banter back and forth on some fun things.
Yeah. That sounds
Um,
good.
And next week is only the 8th. We can, we'll go back into a little bit more of the trigger and the habits and different things on the mindset. But I'd really like to visit again the whole anatomy, that like the actual processes in the body, which gives you more information to maybe choose it better. Like the way I view things and look at things now, it's either like a treat and who cares, because you don't want to be perfect all the time. The point of it is getting your microbiome and getting your gut so strong and built back up again with non-stressors and positive stressors and all of this, that when you eat something really bad, the body goes, I got you covered. Who cares? I'm going to destroy this. Or it knows that it can clean it up. It's when we're in a constant state of those habits and eating,
That's where I am right now.
So when
I
you
could have
get,
used
But at
that
least
Saturday.
I feel ugh, right? Before I didn't feel ugh, right? Before I was like, yeah, this is just how I am. But now I'm like doing it and I'm going, ugh.
yeah,
That's good though, that
that's a
you're doing that.
shift.
yes, it's that recognition, the mind body connection is beginning to happen. So if we can slowly start to build up that environment, that good bacteria, that good flora, that good fungi, all that going on in our bodies, that when we sabotage it one day, it doesn't
God
matter.
bless you, baby.
And we don't feel like crap the next day because we're stronger. So it's really kind of fun to start doing the different habits and things that actually have a different effect on the building process of the body and how we then can react in bad situations or things. All right, ladies. Well,
Well, thank you.
Thank
That
you
was-
very much. That was that was a good one.
session.
It was very good.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you next Wednesday, same bat channel, same bat time.
Okie dokie.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Have a
week.
great rest of your week, everyone.
All right, you
Okay.
too, ladies. Good night.
Bye-bye.